Hey everyone, this is Megan from Lionel, and today with Lionel Live, we are going to go over some really awesome new campaign that we just started promoting on March 30th. And I have some very special guests that you guys can kind of see here on the screen that I'll introduce in just a moment. But you can see we are going to have just kind of some open discussion about a great new program that Lionel has partnered up to replicate with both our Operation Lifesaver and as well as Amtrak. So today I've got a couple of special guests. We got Rachel from Operation Lifesaver. Hello. And then we've also got two special guests from Amtrak, both like we like to call them Amtrak Matt. And we got Barbara. Thank you guys so much for getting on Lionel Live with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is exciting because you know, what I love about Lionel Live, we kind of chat candidly. We get to know a little bit more about product, but there's a certain part we're going to go over in a few moments that like I love as a product manager to team up with, you know, organizations and licensed partnerships that allow us, give us that reason to bring out a product. You know, we have 2 catalogs that come out every year where we can come out with a lot of cool items that replicate, but we do always get those special things that we can actually promote kind of on the side and give a little bit of an extra, what I like to call campaign or emphasis to. So again, all those that are watching the show, thank you for joining us. I can't wait to dive into this a little bit deeper, and hopefully some of these people watching may have already ordered this special item. So let's go ahead and dive in. Back in July of 2021, Lionel just recently acquired some new tooling for our Lion Chief Plus 2-point line. And it is our Genesis, the kind of P42 style Amtrak locomotive that we've actually never had in regards to like not full scale item. So in July of 2021, we were able to offer 3 different phases as well as a 50th anniversary phase. With the success that those came out, we brought additional 4 more out in our 2022, what we call Big Book or Lionel catalog. And again, had a great reception to it. Lots of orders. Just to let those people that have ordered any of these know, the first 4 that we featured in 2021 are going to be, they're on their way. So we'll have those very, very soon. I'm sure Matt's probably excited. He worked closely with me on those to see those as well. Yeah. And then we also are in the process of what we call our deco phase or pre-pro phase of the 450th anniversary, which again, were some of my favorites to see the different paint schemes a little bit different. So we've offered these really great 9 items that are tied to Amtrak, but we were able to bring to life as a special campaign that launched on March 30th is what we're getting ready to talk about. This whole show is dedicated to this one-of-a-kind special replica. This is a replica of a one-of-a-kind large engine that you can see. I believe it's making its way across the country, correct?
It is. It's on
this is so cool.
Routes. It's on the diesel route that Amtrak operates, and it's back and forth, California, down south, whatever. So.
Oh, it's so cool. So this went live on March 30th. You would have seen it on our Lionel store, on our social media platforms, as well as some of your favorite local hobby shops have actually promoted this as well. But this is our Operation Lifesaver themed Amtrak P42 locomotive that it also is currently in the works for deco and pre-production, so we can get it to you this year. Not have to wait on long production times and stuff like that. So this is extremely, extremely excited. And as you can see, we only made 203. So kind of to replicate off of that 203 number, we also wanted this to be a very special piece for you to have. Again, deco that is just striking and sharp. But again, it's all thanks to the people that I have here on the call with me. Like I said, with Rachel, with Operation Lifesaver, and Barbara and Matt from Amtrak. So I think the biggest thing we kind of want to dive into, first of all, is Rachel, definitely tell us a little bit about like what is Operation Lifesaver's mission and how it is so important to the railroad industry and awareness.
Well, Operation Lifesaver's mission is rail safety education, and that's in a nutshell. And basically, what that means is we're educating people how to make safe choices around tracks and trains, such as don't drive around the gates, don't take pictures on the tracks, don't try to beat the train. And this beautiful locomotive, thanks to our partners at Amtrak, is our moving billboard of rail safety, the rail safety message, because every 3 hours, a person or a vehicle in the United States is hit by a train. And that is a statistic that we are striving every day and every hour to change.
Yeah, that is an amazing mission. And we, like, from the toy train business, we love it because it's something that we can model after and do that. But it is definitely something that is out there and is constantly, from even having young children to just as well as adults, just knowing that they understand the rail safety. So it is such a very, very cool mission. As you guys can see on the screen, we've actually got some pictures of the real life version is what I want to say, but the main version that is making its way. So I guess let's just have you guys, if you guys could kind of tell us about how you guys teamed up, what made it this. What was it about this engine? What was it about this deco scheme or phase or livery that you guys kind of joined in on?
So Amtrak is a longtime partner and supporter of Operation Lifesaver, and Barb sits on our National Advisory Council. And we often exchange emails and phone calls, brainstorming ways that we can get the rail safety message out. So I called her one day and I said, Barb, what do you think about this idea? Do you think you could put a decal or something for Operation Lifesaver's 50th anniversary? And not one to shy away from a problem, Barb did much more than a decal, and Matt made it happen. So I'm going to toss it over to Barb to talk about what her and Matt were able to accomplish from that one little crazy idea I called her with.
Well, Rachel, it's so funny because Matt and I go back 10 years on this project. That's how long we've been waiting, right, Matt, to do this project. So, and Matt even came up with designs. I mean, Matt's got crazy skills. But we had this notion 10 years ago, hey, we should do this. But the stars were never aligned. And Rachel, when it became your 50th, we had the pandemic. We didn't have a lot of engines, a lot of locomotives running. The P42s were coming in for refresh. It's all aligning, and we're like, let's try to do it. So Matt and I were like hooking up with, our industrial design team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. So again, it was way cool to have this actually come to life, because I had not given up hope, but really it had put it out of the forefront, right? I mean, we just did a whole bunch of awesome locomotives, which you just showed that you're replicating, for our 50th anniversary. And it was at least a decade ago, like Barb said, that I was working with my colleagues, Lisa and Colin, some very talented graphic designers. And that was actually, I think it predates the veterans locomotive that we did, which was our first special paint locomotive a long while ago, right? And that ended up getting put on the back burner. Just the timing didn't work out as far as the stars aligning, things just kind of falling into the right place. And then it felt like out of the blue, Barb came to me and said, hey, remember that idea? Yeah. What do you think we rekindle that? And I said, okay, yeah, sure. So we got with our colleagues Blair Slaughter, whom you might have heard me mention before, and his team. John Skalski was the one that really did the amazing job with this. We were talking about a bunch of ideas and how to make this stand out, and look, not just amazing from an aesthetic, but also to the general public, right? When this is rolling down the tracks, we want people to catch their eye and take a look and pay attention to what is this all about, and then, hopefully go and visit the website or ask the question about what that is. It serves as an opportunity for our employees to speak with their family and friends, for rail fans, for model railroaders, for people to engage with other people about safety around trains, right? It's not just Amtrak, it's all trains. And we truly view this as a special partnership, in a way to call some special attention to that that dire need, right? So we worked.
So Matt, tell them we get the designs.
We
right?
got the designs.
We
We have
got
4 or 5.
Right. Matt and I are looking at them, and we're like, everything looks beautiful with the consist. It matches. It's red, white, blue, silver. It looks good. But we're like, This comes up at the end. Matt and I lose it. We're like, oh my, this stands out. But then we're saying, this will never fly.
No, it's too loud. It's too loud.
Too loud.
No.
Too yellow. Amtrak's going to flip out. We've never done anything like this before. And we said, and OL's going to look at this and go, are you serious? So that was the turning point when we were both so sold on this. And we presented to Rachel and her team at OL, and we're like, please like the yellow one, please like the yellow one. Rachel goes nutty just like we did, right?
Yeah. It almost.
I love it.
Having been fortunate enough to be involved in the design of special liveries before, it's very rare that the most loud or out of the box idea is the one that ends up being the finalized one, and this was totally the case with the Operation Lifesaver locomotive, and I think rightfully so. Especially to have that railroad crossing warning sign adapt so well to the front of the P-42. John Skalski, the guy that came up with this and did most of the conceptualization for it, actually used one of the original models, right, to tape out and apply a test version of this to make sure, when we're drawing this, so the folks at our Beech Grove, Indianapolis maintenance facility in near Indianapolis in Indiana, I should say, that does our rebuilds on this, was able to make it a reality, because that's another interesting part. You can draw it on paper or on a computer screen, but then making it on a locomotive like you're seeing here is a little bit different, right? Scaling it.
Very tricky, and that was what they said, right, Matt? The angles were very difficult. You had sharp angles. They had to do the OL decals, and they had to match them exactly to their logos, which are trademarked pieces. So nothing looked amateurish. When OL said yes to this design, we were giddy, silly excited. We wanted up the flagpole at Amtrak, and Matt and I are literally like this. It went to the president and CEO of the company. We were literally
like fingers crossed.
We were like, what do you think? We were like this, and he comes back. This is our president and CEO, Stephen Gardner. He goes back and he goes, can you make the Amtrak logo a little bit bigger on the nose? Matt and I are like, are you not seeing the yellow? Do you see the yellow here? We were ridiculously excited, right? Remember that? So
I do. Yeah.
Hats off to Stephen Gardner, our president and CEO, who, by the way, I hope he doesn't mind it, but he's told me this, so I don't believe it was secret. He has survived a non-fatal grade crossing incident when he was working for the freights, right, Matt?
I never heard the story.
I didn't have the story either.
Okay, so here's Barb releasing the news. Sorry, but he is the survivor of a non-fatal grade crossing incident. That's what he has told me when he was working in the freights. So this is a gentleman who gets it. He knows rail safety. He was involved in an incident that Rachel talks about every day. I don't know, thousands we lose in trespassing and grade crossing incidents as a result of train strikes. So here's a gentleman who could not be a bigger advocate of the whole project and of OL's 50th anniversary. So we couldn't be more excited about it. The timing is just amazing.
Yeah, and we've gotten
and you guys. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we've gotten such tremendous feedback, not just from the rail fan community, but from the general public. Because as Matt said, when that train pulls onto the platform, you are not expecting that at all. So everyone is interested in what is that and what is coming into the station. So it is really eye-catching to everyone. And that rail safety message is so important, because we do want everyone, when they see tracks, to think a train and to be mindful of all the safety rules and precautions that they can take.
And you know what else, Megan, which is so incredibly cool about this locomotive? And our little team here has talked about this at length. When people see this locomotive and they're posting online, they're not calling it the Amtrak locomotive. They're calling it the Operation Lifesaver. Locomotive.
Yes.
This means the world to us. What it's done is it's opened up the whole world of what is Operation Lifesaver? What do they do? You can't help but post this without repeating a rail safety message. That was the goal of this entire project, and it's been realized.
Yeah.
It's an amazing, the one thing from a different standpoint, I mean, we love when these special paint schemes come out because it allows us, Lionel, as being, one of the leaders in the model train industry, to come out with like some of these really cool pieces. And I actually like a lot of the lines. Many of the people on Lionel Line, I've done Lionel Lives before. They know I do a lot of the starter sets, a lot of the more traditional that the kids really are playing with. And that's what I do love about the messaging for this. Being a mother of 4 young boys, they know trains as toys when we're home. And really, and there's so many kids out there. We go to shows and it's all about, I mean, the big train is great, but again, this is toys. That is real life. And that's what I do love about this messaging and this organization. As I've got to know you guys a little bit deeper from your messaging, from trying to get this show together and working on this Locomotive, is it really is. I love the fact that Amtrak picked this bold statement, allowed it, because I do think that's what gets people to stop and think about it and really translate the message. And again, from a product standpoint, I can't wait for ours to get here and kind of do our part to help spread that as well.
For sure. And also, there's only at this point sizes small and medium, but we actually did the as well. So that's on store.amtrak.com. Like I said, only unfortunately small and medium are still left in stock. But if that fits you, please head on over and get one of the shirts, because you see it's exactly.
I love the plug. I love the plug. That is not Lionel.
No, I mean, that's shameless is what we call that. I love it.
Yeah.
That's why
and these shirts are available too on our store, Matt.
Right.
So Operation Lifesaver shirts also.
That's right. And for those that don't know, I think most train fans do, but some may not. Operation Lifesaver provides free programs, right? If you're interested in becoming an authorized volunteer, I am one myself. You go on to oli.org. You can get educated on how to go out and do public speaking. A lot of it lately has been over, the internet here since COVID, but you can request, if you're a part of an organization, to have someone come out and speak to your group. I've done everything from elementary schools all the way on up to law enforcement officers, so it's definitely something that's rewarding for me, having worked in the operations department and seeing the aftermath of a grade crossing strike, whether it's even the effects on, my, locomotive engineers and conductors and or the delays to the passengers. There's so many, trickle down effects that happen, just not to the, the family that it involves, but to all the employees and passengers that are involved. It's something definitely worthwhile being a part of, and it's made it all the more special for me to be involved in the creation of this Locomotive.
Well, thank you for that, Matt. And it's a good reminder that there are so many ways to partner and volunteer with Operation Lifesaver, and you do not have to have a railroad background or a transportation background to be a volunteer to get that rail safety message out in your community. So thanks again, Matt, for that.
My pleasure, Rachel.
This is amazing.
I want to give a shout out to, I see Brian Schroeder said he's from Auburn, New York. That's my hometown, everybody. So, all right, putting Auburn on the map. We've
had some great comments coming in so far, and some great informative comments from other Operation Lifesaver, organization employees and stuff like that coming through. So for those of you just joining our Lionel Line, I'm here today with Rachel from Operation Lifesaver, Barbara, and what we like to call Amtrak Matt from Amtrak, that are talking about I have to say it, Matt, I'm so sorry. I get to deal with you a lot with our products, so I'm gonna put you down in my emails, Amtrak Matt.
No problem.
So I have a lot of projects with you this year, so this is fun,
and that's a good thing. I like seeing all the Amtrak stuff coming out there. From what I hear and what I see, the feedback from the fan community is they like it too. So I appreciate Lionel representing Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So we're just, as you can see on the screen, again, if you're just joining us, these are actual pictures that I had received from Matt prior to when it first kind of got launched to start looking at product ideas. But you can also see the group, the three of them, they are so closely connected and making this project happen for the Operation Lifesaver P42 that is making its way across the country, spreading the awareness of railroad safety. One of the things I'm getting ready to show you is this amazing like time-lapse video, and I think we're going to have some commentary through it and kind of have some open discussion as we talk about it. But this kind of like, for me, again, I deal with smaller models. I'm like, you know, give me the smaller scales, but to see this whole like thing come to life on a large full-size scale engine or full real engine is absolutely amazing to me. And you know, I kind of think about how it comes to life as a product. This right here makes you really kind of like open your eyes to how cool and how much dedication and hard work goes into doing a decoration on this. So I'm gonna go ahead and move to this video. Let me make sure I don't go through.
All right. So yeah, this is the paint booth in our Beech Grove facility in Indiana, and there are a lot of talented folks out there. And as you can see, the Locomotive comes in as part of a life cycle preventative maintenance program to get body work done to it first, you know, and then after the body work's done, they go into the paint booth and they prep it. They got to scuff it down. You can see them applying the primer here. So there's a lot of steps, and I'd say it probably takes give or take about a week, and there's different teams of folks that do different, you know, obviously, you know, portions of this. And then each color has to be sprayed individually. So what they do is they'll tape off and mask the different areas to get that done. And when you're talking about something that's a one-off like this Operation Lifesaver Locomotive with a logo, you know, the railroad crossing warning sign, that yellow circle with the X going across the entire cab, right? And which is not just one flat surface. There's a lot of angles. Some of them are flat, some of them are curved on the Locomotive. To adapt this is really something else. You can see someone right there, one of the employees removing the masking tape between the black and the gray and the yellow. They did a fantastic job with adapting that to fit to the nose of this Locomotive. And I've seen some drone photos of it, and it looks so cool from all different angles. It came out, I think, flawlessly. I even, you know, doing it on a model's one thing, you know, but to do it on such a large scale Locomotive, all the decals were made in house. We have our trim shop with Jeff and Steve out there. They do a fantastic job. They take the drawings that are created by our folks in Wilmington, Christian, John and Blair. They'll, you know, send that over to them. They'll make it into actual stickers and actual decals. And then, you know, the folks will tape this off and make it a reality. So it's really cool because a lot of times we don't even get to meet or interface one-on-one with the folks that are carrying this out. And to see them execute the vision so perfectly is super rewarding. And it really gives you that sense of teamwork and pride in a job well done. And everybody at the event, when we unveiled this at the press event in DC, that was actually the first time I got to meet Rachel in person. Yeah. Which was awesome. You know, so many of us have been doing this remotely due to COVID. It was really cool to see it all come together. And if you haven't seen it in person yet, I hope you get the chance to eventually once it's out there. It has, like Barb said, already made it out to LA and back. It was, I think, just the other week, it was still running on the East Coast out of Washington, D.C., but it'll be making its way across the Amtrak system. So I hope you all get the chance to come out and see it one of these times.
And Matt, what was so cute when it came out of Beech Grove, because we were all like, couldn't wait to see it. Yep. Came out of Beech Grove and they had to have it outside. Well, rail fans saw it, took pictures of it, posted them. And the rail community, I think, may have been a little shocked too, because people are saying, that's not real. That's nothing anyone would do. Yeah. Right? And so
they thought it was Photoshop. They thought it was fake.
Yeah, it was Photoshopped. Yeah.
And so I was happy that we had a little something for our rail fans to get a little excited about too, because it was such a spectacular design. And we have even, you know, built in some, we're hoping, Matt, I don't know, I rely on you for this. We're hoping that this locomotive will run for another couple of years, for as long as Amtrak's going to keep those P42s out there. And we built in repairs and new nose. And if it gets a little schmutzy and whatever, I like that word, so that we can keep it out there looking good, right? Because that's the whole thing. We don't want it to look shabby with all the elements, but very exciting when it came out. We just couldn't wait to get it on the road, so we're happy about it.
Yep.
And until
So you kind of mentioned
your.
Go ahead. You're fine.
I was going
to
say.
So you said about 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, tag, you're it.
Okay, you go, Megan. You go.
No, I just loved it. You guys are planning on having this out. I know it's got the 50-year message and everything. You're planning on having this run for a couple years. Is that like what you just said?
Oh, I think it'll be beyond that, honestly.
Okay,
so
awesome.
The P-42 fleet is now starting to be replaced by new ALC-42 locomotives, which we've just got the first handful of, right? So that's going to take a number of years before we get the full order. And these locomotives that we're investing in now to go through overhaul will be the ones to stay on the roster the longest. So I don't have an exact time frame, but it'll be multiple years. All things considered, it go well. This one will be out there promoting the message of Operation Lifesaver. So I think
amazing.
Depending upon what the COVID has in store for us and public gatherings, maybe there'll even be an opportunity to have this an event or two or more, hopefully, right? But obviously that'll be something we'll be looking out for when the opportunities present themselves. But
and Rachel, you wanted us to make sure that when the 50th's done, that we replace it with your logo, right?
Yeah, so there's a way we've talked about taking off that 50th anniversary and just putting the regular Operation Lifesaver logo on there so that the rail safety message can continue on as long as that moving billboard does. And it is such a beautiful locomotive, and we can't thank Amtrak and the staff at Beech Grove enough for all the work and dedication they did. And until I saw that time lapse, I had no idea how a train got painted. My husband's a model railroader himself, so I know how his models get painted, and there's always a couple of words here and there, that I'm sure because there are mistakes and tape that doesn't come off as neatly. But it was amazing, the skill and the technique on this huge piece of machinery, and it just looks so beautiful.
Can I say that I share the familiarity with the paint booth of my husband is also a modeler, and we have the paint booth. So I shared the familiarity, and there are words. I'm not going to lie. Yes.
Crashes every now and then.
Crashes words. It's a process, and they're perfectionists, so I applaud that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love hearing that we've got, your husbands are model train fans. I mean, so that right there, you hit my, near and dear to my heart for sure. But yeah, no, I think it's amazing that this was done. I think, Matt, you mentioned for some people that may have just joined, this was done throughout like about a week. Is that what you were mentioning while we did the video?
Yeah, in the paint booth, I would think, and of course I'm speaking way beyond what I normally do, but the locomotives usually go in for a month or two, right? To get, they have to remove all the rust and the prep work and the sanding and the scuffing. There's a whole bunch that goes into the body work, right? To get it ready for paint. But once it goes into the paint booth, by the time they do all the different layers and do all the decals and the clear coat, it's usually about a week or so, maybe a little less. But this was obviously a special project because it was unique, right? It's a one-off, never been done before, and it's a little bit out of the box. So, of course, knowing that this would be so important, they paid a real good amount of attention to it and took their time with especially the forward third of the locomotive with the railroad crossing warning sign. And it shows, it really does. It's way cool. It's something to behold in person. It looks awesome in pictures, but I really do hope everyone gets the chance to see it in person.
And we weren't going to do anything on the back side because it's going to have a consist. This locomotive is never going to be running without a consist. And I'm so glad we did, Megan, because even for your purposes, that adds a little interest, right? To have that on the back there. So I'm glad.
Absolutely.
In hindsight, I'm kind of glad that we did do that, even though we weren't accounting on that being shown in any way. But you would never believe that this locomotive was constructed in, I think it's October 2001. So it's got 3 million miles on it, this locomotive. So
amazing.
which sounds huge in our world, in locomotive world. It's not, but in our automotive world, right? A figure like 3 million is like completely outrageous. But what they did in Beech Grove was nothing short of magic to make this look like something that was brand new and, rolled out of the shop. So
yeah,
cool.
and the 203 is one of our newer P42s. A little bit of trivia: all of our hardcore Amtrak fans will know the highest numbered P42 is the 207. So it is right there towards the end of the pack of the order of the P42. So it's one of the more the newest of the bunch. I think the oldest P42s go back to about 1997. So there was a number of years between the first and the last.
And we wanted that, right, Matt? We were asking them, hey, give us a good one.
Yeah.
And they're like, Barb. But the funniest thing I think is the way they handle me on the railroad, because I'm not like Matt. I don't have an operations background. Matt, you were like a road foreman or some train master or something crazy railroadish. And so I'm like, where is it? Is it okay? It's like, Barb, it's a working locomotive. Nobody's special. Like when it goes out in trail, I say to my husband, oh, they're putting it there because they're protecting it, right? So it's not out front and getting dirty. He goes, please don't ever say that again to anybody. Because you don't know what you're talking about. And no, that's not why they're doing it. But it's been a whole education for us, right, Rachel? Because what we know about trains is what we've learned from,
exactly.
our the railroad.
Yeah. And I think one of the great things about the partnership is as the train travels, if we know that it's going to be in a station for a good amount of time, we do connect our state coordinator in that state with our Amtrak peers so that they can do something around the locomotive being in the station. And that's also been a great way to promote not only the partnership with Amtrak that we have, but the locomotive and the rail safety message.
Very, very cool. Again, this is like you said, it's perfect timing for you guys to come up with this. Us as being, a manufacturer of model trains, toy trains. This is the stuff that we live for. My favorite thing to do is these type of campaigns. So I'm gonna kind of dive into that a little bit. I think I kind of harass Matt. Like I hear there's a new scheme, like paint scheme coming out, and I'm like, Ryan, our director of production, who's my boss, will be like, hey, did you hear about the 203? And then I'm like, Matt, what is this about the 203? So it's kind of funny how it all goes. I've always been more of like a fictional, like Disney Polar Express, but I've really got into this world of Amtrak over the last year or so, as well as more of the prototypical and traditional road names. And this project is something that is very near and dear to my heart too, after connecting with you guys. And love the fact that we were able to promote it. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to that. I mentioned this at the beginning of the program. Some of you guys that were maybe not here, I am teamed up here with Rachel from Operation Lifesaver and Barb and Matt from Amtrak. And on March 30th, I worked closely with Matt on going through different designs and approvals on this, but we have launched March 30th our model of it's our Lion Chief Plus 2.0 technology, it's a traditional size locomotive. It's not your full scale, but it's also not your starter set locomotive, but it's our Lion Chief Plus 2.0 locomotive that can be ran with your universal remote or our free Lionel Lion Chief app, as well as a conventional. So this is actually a great kind of bridge engine here, but we are only making 203, and we have actually sold out at Lionel. So all of these have been taken by your local favorite hobby shop. So if you have a hobby shop and you are interested in this locomotive and have not already put a request in for it, you better call soon. We want to keep this, with it being a 50th anniversary piece, keeping it a very limited run on it, keeping it very special. So again, you're getting something that is truly unique. And there's not a lot of them out there in this particular technology or this gauge. Again, you can see some of the different things. It's going to have electric couplers. It's going to have that operating smoke unit, which is something you wouldn't have seen on this model prior to us getting this tooling. So it's definitely something that we have jam-packed with our Lion Chief Plus 2.0 technology. So got major pulling power. But this is going to be, it's something right now. We're in the deco phases. So if you like the way this looks, again, it is striking. We still have a lot with Matt. I got a lot more to work on with you on this because we'll start getting deco samples, and we got to go through that because I'm going to take it by you before we go to production.
That yellow, my God.
That yellow.
It's a hard one.
The yellow is so.
Yeah.
I was like, is there a Pantone? He's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean there's not a Pantone?
No.
We'll get it.
We killed you, Megan. I'm so sorry. We killed you with that.
Yeah. I already don't like working with yellows. So yellows are the hardest color other than red to work with. You can ask anyone in my office.
It is. And so just so the fans know, like the way we did that, obviously we wanted to make the locomotive look like the sign, right? The signs are reflective. Anytime you do it with something that's reflective, it depends on the light you're working it in. So they chose a paint based off of the standard for the sign. So we worked it backwards, and I had a sample of the paint from the actual locomotive that was sprayed at the same time. And the paint itself, if you're looking at it, looks very yellow and dark compared to what your eye sees in photos and even in real life, what you remember the locomotive as. So I think we've got it nailed down, and we've got something up our sleeves to make this thing look just right. But if you had used the same paint on the locomotive, it would look wrong. And we want to make sure it's right. So we've got it in the works.
And Matt, I remember I was insisting that we have it glow, like be retro reflective.
Yep.
And the artists came back and said, can't do it because that yellow paint has beads and the beads run.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Glass beads is how you do reflective paint. Yeah.
Yeah, glass beads.
Ah.
So they were like, hey, no go on that. And then, so this was a lot of interesting discussions and back and forth. I learned an awful lot, but
there's a lot.
We didn't want running beads, so we couldn't go with that retro reflective.
But the decals are, so even the black R is reflective, the white decals and the yellow, all the lettering and numbering is all reflective. But the actual yellow paint is a solid color.
Very cool.
So
again, I'm in the process. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, if you have the opportunity to actually see the train as it's traveling around, to see it at night it's also equally beautiful.
It just went down to New Orleans on train 19 a couple days ago. So it should be in New Orleans right now.
Yeah.
Or close to it.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Well, again, just to tie it up, if you are interested in this locomotive, also definitely check out or visit oli.org to get more information on Operation Lifesaver and the important messages got out there. But if you're interested in this locomotive, please reach out to your local hobby shop. Like I said, limited number were produced to give a little something special, and definitely reach out to see if they have any available. And again, we're working on it now. We'll get it out to you this year. I'm so excited to see this come to life, and I'll be working closely with you three just to make sure you guys get to see it and see it kind of come to life. But is there anything we want to end? Rachel, is there anything you'd like to say on behalf of OLI and teaming up with Amtrak and Lionel on this project?
I want to say thank you to Lionel, a huge thank you to Amtrak and the Beech Grove staff and everyone at Amtrak that made this happen. And I want to tell all the listeners that have joined us today to, when they see tracks, think train, and get involved with Operation Lifesaver, oli.org. Thank you again, Megan.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. You, Barb and Matt, anything you guys would like to end the show with and leave people with before we sign off?
I just want to say thank you to all of our fans, our followers, that support Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver as well, and to Lionel and the model railroad industry. Thank you for having our backs and supporting us.
I say amen to that. And no, we're not doing another one, Rachel.
Well, I can ask.
Perfect product.
Thank you, everybody. This has been so much fun. I tell you, I've been at Amtrak for 14 years. This has really been the highlight of my career because never have we worked with so many different departments at Amtrak. I didn't even know we had industrial design folks, the folks at Beech Grove, government affairs, transportation, mechanical. Every department, I think, had a little piece of this locomotive. So our pride is huge on this project, and we can't thank everybody enough for loving it as much as we do.
Yeah,
very
really
cool.
do. Huge.
Go ahead. Yeah,
As you
it's
said,
awesome.
team
This is so
effort.
cool to hear from your guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on behalf of Lionel, we are so we love the fact that we have great partnerships again with so many different licensors, including OLI and Amtrak, to help bring these products to life for you to have on your very own rails at home. But again, think rail safety, Operation Lifesaver. Again, we love this. We're so excited to team up with you guys, and I appreciate all of you guys that have tuned in to view this showing. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.